Welcome everyone to the Beginner's Bass Drum Boot Camp. I'm your instructor today, Mr. Dave Atkinson, and it's going to be a fun lesson. I wouldn't even call it a lesson, I would call it a workout. So the idea behind this whole workout, this whole boot camp, is I'm going to go through a series of exercises with you that is going to get progressively tougher, but not too tough for beginners, all right? The whole idea behind this is to get yourself practicing. So you're going to need to be behind a drum set to get the most out of this lesson. If you don't have your drum kit there, you could tap along on the floor. No problem. There is always a way and always a time you can practice your bass drum. You don't have to be in front of a kit. All right. The second thing is, if you guys are watching this on the road, whatever, take it to your kit and do this on the regular. This is a boot camp that I have been developing for years now, and a little bit of it. For those who have been to the VIP, you're going to be able to see little chunks of the boot camp I did in there come out in this lesson as well. And for those who've never been to a VIP week, you're going to get a taste of what some of the stuff we do at the VIP camp on this lesson. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to get into it pretty quickly. There's a couple things we're going to do first, though. One of them is just stretching, and this is something that you can do before you do anything on the drums, all right? A couple bass drum stretches, or foot stretches I like to call them, that I do. One of them, we're just going to go down to the foot cam here, and we're going to put our foot on the floor, press our toe into the floor just like that. And you can do this all while you're sitting down, and pretend you're stomping out a cigarette, all right? Whatever you want to think about, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind. You're trying to stomp something on the ground and just move your heel back and forth while keeping your toe planted, all right? You're actually stretching the ankle part right here, so make sure you give it a good rotation there, right? All right, you can do the same with your other foot. The only thing with the other foot, though, is your other foot isn't going to be used too much unless you're doing a double bass workout, and I got stuff in the way here. So you don't need to worry about that one too much. I'm going to go back to my right foot because this is the one we're really going to be working out, okay? So I'm going to do that for a little bit. Shake it like this. You know the drill, okay? The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my feet planted. Now, I've already kind of warmed up a bit. So for you, if you guys need a little bit more time to warm up, if you're watching this in the archives, pause it and do these exercises or warm up a little bit more. I'm going to put my feet about, I would say, a 90 degree with your ankles or with your knee, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and raise my toes while keeping my heel planted. Now, all you who are at VIP, you know how much this one sucks, but it's such a good workout. I'm keeping my heel planted, and I'm raising my toe as much as I can. I'm going to hold it there, hold it there. I'm feeling it in my shin here. I'm feeling it in my toes. Okay, a little bit longer. Stretch your toe as much as you can to the sky. All right, drop it. Give it a shake. All right, give it a shake. All right, next thing, we're going to move our heel back a bit. I'm sitting at the same spot. I'm going to move my heel back maybe an inch. That's too far. I would say right around there. So now my knee is at, I would say, maybe an 80 degree angle. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to lift my toes as much as I can. All right. Yeah, Taylor, I see you doing it in there. It's not easy, hey? It seems so simple. Okay, keep holding that toe up. Try to get your toe to touch as much as you can to the ceiling while keeping your heel planted. Try not to lean back. If you're leaning back, it's defeating the purpose. Have a nice upright position on the throne. Okay, I gotta let it go. Okay, relax. Now you might think, is he even doing anything? So let me do the last stretch for you with my shoe off so you can see where my toe is, all right? Bear with my socks. All right. So we're right around here. I'm going to do one more move back on the heel, just like so, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my toe up. Now I can't go far at this point because my leg is, or my knee is literally at like a, I don't know, I would say a 70 degree angle there. So I can't go too far, but my toes are trying to touch the ceiling. I'm feeling it in my shin. Dane says it stinks, okay? Rhythm says the smell-o-vision is real, people. Okay, come on, it's not that bad. Shake it out. All right. Just for you, Rhythm, I'm putting my shoe back on. All right. So those are just a couple stretches and warm-ups. There's some other ones that you could do, but the main idea is just to make sure that you're feeling loose and limber and there's blood flowing there because we're going to work out our leg today. Second thing, now that we've gotten warmed up, let me just explain how this workout's going to go. When you're playing the bass drum, there are three main areas that you want to really focus on and three main styles of practice that you could do with your feet. One of them is independence. And this is a big one. We're going to do a little small boot camp section focused on independence where we're going to go through placing your bass drum in different spots. Now, we're going to create beats with that, which is going to be really cool, but let's take away the beats and the understanding of what groove is and all that and just focus on your foot. We're going to be placing your foot in different notes along a 4/4 grid. Super easy. You'll get the idea. Second thing we want to practice is your speed and your control and your power. Okay, now that is something that you can start getting technique involved in. We're not going to talk about technique on this boot camp, but it's a different style of exercise. We're really going to be pushing the speed and the power from our bass drum. And the last one is endurance. Okay, so we've got independence, we've got speed and control and power, and we've got endurance. So we're going to cover all three of those in this boot camp, all right? Now, before we get into the boot camp, I'm not going to do anything about technique. I'm not going to talk about heel up. I'm not going to talk about heel down. I'm not going to talk about slide technique. We have lessons, tons of lessons in the library for that. This is just about getting ourselves going. Whenever I'm doing any kind of group workout or any kind of practice on my own, I always do these types of lessons, exercises, I should say, workouts more so, just because they get yourself going and they get yourself moving. And there's no better way to develop technique and skill and speed than by just putting in the time. And I feel like a lot of drummers, they spend too much time searching for the perfect lesson and not enough time sitting behind the kit and getting to it, okay? So that's my overall tip for you guys. Just do this with me. Don't worry about bass drum technique. Don't worry about if you're, if you're feeling a little bit of pain. That's a good thing. You want to burn through that. You want to get that tension and develop the muscles, right? If you can't keep up the whole way, there's ways that you can kind of chill out and make it easy for yourself. And if it's too easy for you, hey, this is a beginner's boot camp. Just tells us that you're a little bit further ahead than this. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is your hands are always going to be doing this beat or this pattern. All right, for those who want to count, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's it. That will never change, okay? When I come and talk, because I'm going to be playing while I'm talking, I'm going to go down to a cross stick, but for everyone else who's doing this, just keep that ostinato on your hands going. That's never going to change. The only thing that's going to change within this pattern, for now at least, is your bass drum, okay? And that's what's going to be the changing variable throughout every single piece of exercise we go through, all right? Before we get going, let me just explain how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start, and you guys are going to follow along with me. It's that simple, okay? There's no tempo. There's no sheet music. A lot of this stuff is going to be improv with regards to when we move on to the next, when we add some complexity to it. If this is too easy for you, bear with us. Have fun with it. Try it out for yourself. And with that being said, let's get to it, all right? Let's start nice and slow. I'm going to change the tempo as I feel. Upwards, I'm going to slow it down. I'm hopefully going to push all you beginners, and by the end of this, hopefully you'll feel it in your foot. Here we go. Start nice and slow, just with the hands. Here we are. All right. So everyone's doing this with me right now, right? Everyone's got their hands going. Let's put a bass drum in on the 1 and 3. Here we go. So keep doing that. I'm going to keep talking. When I talk, I'm going to play a little quieter just so you can hear me. But what we're going to do now is we're going to add 2 feet in. Now the first part of this boot camp is going to be talking about independence. So let's place this bass drum in and get 2 notes followed by 1 note. Here we go. So we're going to add another bass drum in now. We're going to get 2 bass drums before every snare. Here we go. Just getting started. We're not changing the tempo. We're just adding extra bass drums right now. Let's add one more. This next bass drum is going to land right on the backbeat. So it's going to go bass drum, bass drum, bass drum, bass drum, bass drum, bass drum. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Keep going, keep going, keep going. So now we're going to add the last bass drum in. So every note is an 8th note bass drum pattern. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep playing, don't stop. So what we're going to do now is we're going to change it up. We're not going to add 16th notes in. We're still on the independence part of this boot camp. We're going to change up the pattern. Let's take the bass drum out and just play our hands. Here we go. And just hands. Now, we're not stopping. This whole boot camp, you don't want to stop. All right, just follow along with me. Let your foot rest a bit if you need to. Again, we are beginners here, so we don't want to hurt ourselves. We want to make sure we're constantly pushing ourselves, though, and if we feel a burn, that's a good thing. So now we're talking about independence here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the pattern up so I'm not playing a bass drum on the 1 anymore. So it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but none on the 1. Independence. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. it down, or not slow it down, keep it going, but I'm gonna play a little quieter so I can talk to you here. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slow it down a little bit, and I'm gonna try adding some 16th notes in. Okay, I'm gonna slow it down quite a bit, follow along with me. I'm gonna go back to the 1 and the 3 first. Here we go, and 1, 3, 4, 1, and 4. Right around here, all right? Now, this is a tough one. I'm gonna add a 16th note in right before the backbeat on the 2 and on the 4. Right before those, we're gonna play a bass drum, okay? Now I'm slowing down quite a bit. If this is tricky for you, it's all good, but I'm gonna try it out. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep doing that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the beat up on my own, and you guys can follow along. I'll play the same beat a few times just in case you don't get it right away, but try and follow along with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There were some tricky ones there. I added quite a few 16th note patterns. Now, if you couldn't get all those, that's fine, but hopefully you were challenged and hopefully you were able to get most of them. Before I move on to the next one, let me just do a quick challenge for you guys. So if you guys are a beginner and you think you can play along and hang with this beat, give it a try. Here we go, nice and slow. Here we are. A nice little ding at the end to close us out. Now that was just part one. That was just the first step of this bass drum boot camp here. Now, again, there was some tricky stuff in there. If it was too fast for you, totally chill. The idea is to challenge yourself with it and push yourself. If that was too slow, that's totally fine as well. This is a control and independence section of the boot camp. Now let's move on to speed and power. Now, speed and power, we're going to get to some tempos that are definitely going to be too fast for you, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to start at a slow tempo, and I'm going to push and push and push and push until you guys drop off. And if you don't drop off, awesome. But chances are you will drop off at one point, and that's totally cool. When you do drop off, though, don't stop playing. When you drop off, keep your hands going. And if you can't keep up, because we're going to start around here, and we're going to get going pretty quick. Now, here's two tips for you guys before we do this. If the hi-hats become too fast, go to quarter notes. All right, so if you're playing and that gets too fast, just go to quarter notes. Right? That's a pretty easy way to half the amount of notes you have to play on your hand on your hi-hat, okay? The second thing is when you do get it gets too fast for you, don't stop playing your bass drum. Obviously stop playing as many notes as we are, but maybe just play the 1 and the 3. So if I'm doing something like chill out with something like that and do what I like to call burst training, where that means if I'm at my peak and I can't go any faster for any longer, I'll stop, keep my hands going, keep myself in time, and then play a couple bars when I can just to keep my foot going, all right? So the whole idea behind this one, this is all about speed and power. We're gonna start super slow. It's gonna be a simple exercise with bass drum on every single and, all right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? And we're gonna try and push it as fast as we can go. And once I get to a fast tempo, I'll slow it back down again. We'll chill for a bit, then I'll try it again, and then I'll slow it back down. We'll do that a couple times, all right? Cool? Yeah? Cool? Let's do it. We'll start really slow. Here we go. Right around there. That's a good tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... All right, so this is pretty fast right now. To some it might not be, but to a lot of beginners, this is a pretty fast. If you keep it going, you're probably feeling it. So let's slow it back down, get back to a slow tempo, and then we'll bring it back up again. Here we go, bring it down. Should be able to play along with this tempo. Let's bring it up. We're going to go a little faster than last time, okay? Here we go. It'll be a slow build. Try to hang on as long as you can. Here we go. You guys still with me here? Yeah? I'm going to slow it back down. So if you did fall off, try to catch back up with us. Here we go, slowing it down. Take my bass drum away, just do snare, here we go. Hi-hat and snare. Now I'm going to shake my foot out, give it a bit of a rest. We've been going for a little bit here. We're going to do this one more time, and we're going to try and go a little faster than we did before, okay? And this time, I'm going to keep going. Now, obviously, this is a beginner's bass drum boot camp, so I'm not going to expect you all to follow along, but you might as well try, okay? I'm going to start slow at around this tempo. Pick it up from there. If you need to, half the amount of notes on your hi-hat. And if you need to, half the amount of notes on your bass drum. Just hang with us. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to keep going. So that was fast, okay? My apologies for you beginners who couldn't keep up. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a push and a challenge to see where you can go. And for those who did keep up the whole time, bravo, you are not a beginner, for sure. Okay, what we're going to do now, this is a quick exercise, or I should say quick section of the boot camp where we're going to talk about power. Now, as a beginner, this one might go over your head, but I'm going to try it anyway, right? I'm going to slow it down a little bit, and I'm going to do 1 bar or 4 notes of very, very, very loud bass drum notes, and then 4 notes of 4 bars of very, very quiet bass drum notes. And I might change it to 1 bar each, just so we can just rotate a little quicker. All right? You'll get the idea, and if you can't do this, totally cool, but give it a try anyway. Let's slow it down. Right around there. Here we go. 1 bar of each, really loud to really soft. Let's start with loud. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me easy or simplify the pattern a bit and slow it down a little bit more just to help out with you beginners out there. Here we go, a little slower. There we go. That's about right. And let's change the pattern up to the Queen We Will Rock You beat. Starting with loud. Here we go. So the one thing you want to remember when you're doing that exercise is don't change the volume of the snare. A lot of times your snare will drop in volume at the same time your feet do, but it's independent of your feet. Independence is not always the pattern you play. Sometimes it's the dynamic level you play. And to be able to keep your snare loud when your feet are quiet, that's not easy to do. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to slow it down just a bit. There we go, right around there. Let's try that one more time. 2, 3, 4. All right, there we go. Shake it off, okay? Now, we started working out half hour ago. So this is about, I would say after talk, a little break in between, everything like that, I would say it's about 25 minutes of pure playing. How is your foot doing, okay? If you were able to keep up the whole time and you don't have a burn yet, that's good. Good to know, because even if you don't get a burn, at least you're learning something from this, and that is what you need to do in order to get that burn. When I practice on the bass drum, I like to push myself hard enough and long enough so that I'm feeling something in my shin. And if you go down to the foot cam, it's usually around here, right in here. Some people call it shin splints. It's almost like a burning, sharp pain, and it's not a bad pain. It's not like you got to go to the doctor, because it'll dissipate over time. But that just tells you that there's a lot of lactic acid built up in there, and it's like you've gone to the gym and worked it out. Also in your ankle, you might feel it in here as well, too. That's all normal, okay? That's going to happen. That's what you want. That's what you want out of these bass drum exercises. And we have so many lessons on technique, but you can't learn that technique, you have to develop it. And that's what workouts like this are for. And that's why in the beginning I said, don't worry about technique, just do the exercise with me. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one more. Now we talked about speed or independence, that was the first one. We did a couple different patterns. We tried to add some 16th notes in there, okay? Cool. We did the next one, which was speed and power, all right? We pushed our tempo, we came back down again, and then we did some dynamic exercises to really work on the control and the power that we can play with our bass drum. The last one I said in the very beginning of the lesson was endurance. Now, we've already kind of worked through endurance already just by doing this, but what I'm gonna do for the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna do an exercise that's gonna go through all of the stuff that we already went through. And it's gonna be improv, and I'm gonna push the tempo, I'm gonna drop the tempo, I'm gonna change the pattern up, and the idea is for you to follow along with me. I won't talk too much, I just want you guys to play along. And I will play each pattern a few times just in case you don't get it right away, you'll be able to get it eventually. Again, I'll keep it beginner, but I'm also going to try and push you as well. If you fall off, remember what I said? Just keep time going with your hats, half the amount of notes if you need to, or take a quick break with your foot, shake it off, and come back in. After that, we'll pause. I'll do a quick little 30-second break, and we'll come back for Q&A of this so I can answer all your questions about it. But until then, let's get going. One last workout, including all the stuff we've already done in one boot camp exercise. Here we go. We'll start really, really slow. So at the end there, I did a little bit of a punky kind of thing using the slide technique. I went way too fast. And then I also went backwards on the beat, missed the backbeat altogether. So hey, that's what it's all about. So when you guys are going through this, maybe you'll do it enough so you catch those bloopers and you can follow along, but if not, my apologies. Anyway, how's your feet feeling? All right, I did a bunch of different variations. I picked up the speed, went back down, went into some different patterns. I added some challenges with the 16th notes in there as well. But again, this is just one of many boot camps that we're going to be doing, and this is the beginner one, all right? So we're going to do intermediate one, we're going to do an advanced one in the future, and possibly even double bass ones for beginners. There's just a lot of different ways we can go with this, but the idea is just to get down to your kit and start practicing. Once you put the time in, all the development about your technique will most likely take care of itself, and that's what we want to see, all right? It's one thing to just look at videos of how the slide technique and how the heel toe technique works, or how heel up works compared to heel down, but nothing beats figuring out by just playing and getting your feet working. And then you'll start to realize, oh, okay, well, I see what Dave's doing on the slide technique, but I like it if I slide this way a bit, it feels better, and then you get your own variation of technique. But that happens in the practice room, okay? So if you're watching this in the archives, leave a comment what you think. If it was too hard, too fast, I can easily dial it back to another one for beginners that is easier than this. If it's too easy for you, come out for the intermediate one that we'll do, and let me know how your feet are doing. For those watching live, we're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we'll get to the Q&A. We'll see you all in a little bit. Bye-bye.